I hope we can start the seminar conference.
So what I'll suggest, I will be a silent spectator, and we have Dr. Yashoda here from Kenya. So I request Dr. Yashoda to join. I think, and how about we had Dr. Devin from Oman. Dr. Devin, would you like to join on the panel? You are unmuted.
Hello.
Yeah, would you like to join on the panel?
No, actually, I belong to mathematics background. Actually, I am more interested to hearing you people more.
Okay, fine. Okay, so let us proceed now. Yeah.
So you are also there, no? Now, Kumar Bhaiya?
Okay, fine.
Please be there. Yeah.
Okay, fine. ठीक.
Greetings to all present. I'm Dr. Manisha Gupta from UHV team. I welcome all respected panelists, attendees, and delegates who joined from Zoom and YouTube from India and abroad on this 9th International Conference on Human Values in Higher Education. So we had sharing sessions before the break in different rooms where the individuals who are going through the process of value education in their higher education and the institutions who are working on value education have shared the impact of such an education in transforming their lives. So now we are into panel discussion session of education panel on holistic value-based education. There are other panel discussions also going on in other rooms on holistic health in room number 3 and on SDG addressing at the root in room number 4. And in the beginning, we listened to the keynote session on vision of human education, fulfilling human aspiration. That very well explained that how human education facilitates in fulfilling our basic aspirations of happiness and prosperity and continuity as a human being. So now in this session, there will be panel discussion on need for holistic value-based education. So to carry forward the session, I would like to invite Dr. Anita Santaji Mane. Yes, she's here. She is PhD in Commerce from Shivaji University, having academic experience of 27 years, and she has been very actively involved in value education since August 2020. Dr. Anita, over to you for UHV point of view on vision of holistic value-based education.
Thank you, Dr. Manisha. Namaste to all. My name is Dr. Anita Santaji Mane. I welcome all the delegates, panelists, moderator to the 9th International Conference on Human Values in Higher Education. Today, in the inaugural session, we had the keynote session followed by sharing of individuals and institutions, as Dr. Manisha has said. Now we'll have the panel discussion. The theme of the conference is value-based education for human society, addressing the Sustainable Development Goals, as we are going to have 3 parallel discussions in special interest group. So one of the special interest group is holistic value-based education. And we are going to have discussion on the need for such education on the first day, then vision, and then finally the implementation. So presently, I'm going to share the universal point of view regarding the holistic value-based education. If you look at the efforts made in our country, India, for the past so many years, we have been able to see the need of value-based education. If you read through the Constitution, we can clearly see that it envisions a society which is based on justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. There have been several committees formed over the years which have talked about education value-based. Unless we have values at the core, and we keep trying to work on skills at the focus, the education is just not going to be an equitable society. As vision in NEP 2020. If you read the vision document of UGC, AICT, they are the education body of India. All such documents do emphasize on the need of promoting human values through education. If you look at the sustainable development goal made by the UNOS, they are talking about quality education, we are talking about justice society, we are talking about sustainable development, and this is not possible unless we focus on the core, that is education. Now, reading the National Education Policy 2020, NEP 2020, we say as, we can see that it is imperative to appreciate the different approaches and achievements which have been made so far and how we can complement them to fill this gap of NEP 2020, which is another step towards fulfilling this gap. We are trying to make the message of implementing value education across various institutions in our country. We are thankful to AICT, which took up this program at all the colleges under AICT in the year 2017. We have been implementing through various measures like Students Induction Program, SIP, the mandatory course in the second year, the elective courses, the minor degrees, and the various programs of leadership development or management development. Now, when we talk of priorities of values over skills in education, there is a clear-cut priority of values over skill in education. Education has been the responsibility to facilitate two things. One is what to do, and the other is how to do. Understanding what to do is valuable as human being as one of the important aspects that is called as value education. Learning how to do it comes later. When we acquire the skill, we develop technologies, we conduct research, and we try to add more and more skills to support what we find valuable in our living. So both are important. We can clearly see that values in education hold a higher priority over skills or technical education. And that's why we are able to see, unless education is made valuable, we are not able to solve the problem in the society. Now, if you look at the present approach is largely based towards skill education. And we try to understand a human being. We can see human being is a coexistence of self and body. Human being is not merely the body. Now, through skill education, we try to work on physical facility, on material things, and that's why we see that right understanding is not in focus. The core focus is on the development of new technology through that make more and more production, accumulate more and more, to consume more and more, rather than to produce what is required and utilize. We are not able to make a need of physical facility. So we are not able to see what is the limit for the need of physical facility. And that's why we are not able to utilize it properly. That is the reason there is so much of pollution, resource depletion, and a global menace is there. And now we need to have a solution-centric approach. Now, when we talk of work of values-based skill education, we are all at the course and working for the skills. We will conduct research, we will develop new products, new technology, but at core, it is the right understanding. We're able to see much of this is conducive to human health, and happiness is conducive to human prosperity. So when we go far from value-based skill education, then we try to bring in right understanding in every child, the capacity to live in relationship with other human beings, and also the capacity to identify the need for physical facility and try to acquire skill and practice for sustainable production of more than what is required, doing the right utilization of whatever is to be produced so far, which ensures proper prosperity mutually. So at one hand, we are able to fulfill the physical facilities. Rightly, we feel prosperous within, that I have more than what I require as a human being. For my family, for my extended family, for my society. On other hand, I'm able to take care of the nature around. I'm able to take care of the birds, the animals, the soil, the air, the water, and all the entities in the nature. We are much able to relate to them. But if you exploit them, if you destroy them, say if you exploit the forest, the river, the air, the water, the soil, ultimately what will happen? We are going to suffer. We will have to have a solution-centric approach. Solution-centric approach, which may many times find missing in the current system. But if we look at the syllabus, right from the primary to the higher education seldom, we are talking about right understanding. And most of the time, we are talking about physiochemical things. I hope we are all able to see this. Once you are able to see the need for the values of education, we can also try to have the basic guidelines for value education. We need to know what is value-based education. We need to decide what is valuable, not valuable. Is there something which is going through education? Can we say it is valuable? We say it is universal? These things needs to be investigated. There's something to be more explored. So one of the basic guidelines for value education would be that the content has to be universal. And essentially it means it has to be applicable to every human being, irrespective of the sex, creed, nationality, race, gender. So the content has to be universally applicable to all human beings for all the time, all places. Secondly, it has to be rational. It has to be amenable to logical reasoning. It cannot be set of do's and don'ts, should and should nots. Thirdly, it has to be verifiable. Verifiable means we put this in front of a student in a form of proposal at one's own right. Now I have to verify something that is being said to me. I try to verify it with my natural acceptance. What is acceptable to me within? I try to validate in my experience, in my interaction with human beings, with the rest of the nature. Now it is acceptable to me and it is valid in my living, then it becomes a part of my understanding. So it is very much necessary that whatever is started in terms of human values goes on in a proposal, and the student is authorized, empowered, we can say, to verify and validate it. And finally, it needs to lead in leading to harmony. So essentially, we all aspire for happiness, and that also in continuity. When I'm happy within, I'm in harmony in relationship. When I'm in harmony in my participation, society, and nature, I feel happy within. So whatever is taught through human values has to lead to harmony in something that we are able to see within. This happiness leads to happiness in the family. So the values are able to live and bring peace and harmony within myself, as well as the others are also part of this human values. Now, to sum up, priority of values over skills in education. The present approach is focused on skill education. But going through the solution-centric approach, we need to work on holistic value-based education, ensuring right understanding every child, the capacity to live with other human beings, the capacity to identify the need for physical facility, the skills, the practice for sustainable production of more than what is required, that is right utilization of physical facility, leading to feeling of prosperity. The basic guidelines for value education, it should be universal, rational, verifiable, and leading to harmony. This is what I had to say and share in terms of need for the value-based education. Now, I call upon Iladi, who's a director, Anveshan Foundation, doctorate in physical. Just one. Who's a doctorate in philosophy in textile and clothing. She has 42 years of teaching experience. She has been in charge principal, IQAC head or coordinator. She is a PhD guide and HOD in Nirmala Niketan affiliated to University of Mumbai, India. She is involved with universal human values related activity since July 2020. I welcome Dr. Ela. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Anita, for the very crisp presentation, a recap of the universal human values, and for introducing me also. Thank you. Welcome to all the panelists. We are here on the first day, the second, you can say it is the second shift, the night shift, where we are discussing on the need for value education. And we have the honor of having esteemed panelists whom I would like to introduce. I begin with Dr. Kumar Sambhav, who is a BTech, MTech and PhD from IIT Kanpur in the field of mechanical engineering. He is currently the Associate Professor and the Acting Director at the UP Institute of Design, Noida. And he has been actively involved with value education pro bono since 2001. His long length of exposure to the universal human values would surely add a lot of value to this panel. Welcome to you, Dr. Kumar. I also take the privilege to introduce our panelist, Dr. Anuradha Parasar, who's a Dean and Professor at the School of Liberal Education, Galgotias University, UP, India. She is a PhD from the JNV University, received several awards, fellowships, and her interest lies in sociology of law, yoga and meditation, community connect, and nature connect. Welcome to you, Dr. Anuradha.
Thank you.
Looking forward to your sharing. I think Mehulji is not there. Mohiniji is also not. We have Rashid Hashmi, Professor Rashid Hashmi. Welcome. A professor of practice at the Sharda University, Greater Noida, India. A master's in mass communication and media studies. A journalist, anchor, a reporter, an editor, a writer, and columnist. So with this multifaceted personality, we welcome you and definitely waiting to hear from you too.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Looking forward.
Yeah, thank you so much. We also have amongst us Dr. Sunil Kumar N, who is a BTech, MTech, PhD from the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore in civil engineering. Presently, who is a professor and head at the Division of Civil Engineering at Cochin University, College of Engineering, Katanad. He is also associated with the UHV activities, volunteering, facilitating the proposal since June 2020. Welcome to you, Sunilji. Looking forward to hear from you, your sharings. We have Ms. Lipika Mitra, who is the director, a parent coach, of Bhushala, Mumbai. She runs her own organization. She's a BE in electrical engineering from the Government Engineering College, Bilaspur, who's received her fellowship on sustainability at the Hyal, Ladakh. She has exposure to both industry and the social sector. She too is a volunteer at the Universal Human Values since 1 year, 2023. Welcome to you, Lipika. Waiting to hear from your perspective also. So with this, I think I've introduced the panel. Welcome to all of you. And we take this discussion further.
I think Dr.
We've
Yashoda.
heard, sorry,
Dr. Yashoda.
Dr. Yashoda, yeah, I didn't see her. Can someone highlight her? The tech committee, so that we can see her also.
Madam,
Dr. Yashoda,
yeah,
would you
madam.
like to,
Is there?
since it was a very prompt decision, we'll be very happy to hear from you your introduction.
Thank you,
And
madam.
it was very nice of you to have joined the panel so promptly, very spontaneously. Yes, Yashodaji, please go ahead.
Thank you for everyone for giving me opportunity. This is Yashoda Krishna Janapati. I done my M Pharmacy, PhD, M Pharmacy from Bhopal, PhD from JNTU Hyderabad. And currently, I am working in United States International University, Kenya, Nairobi. I have 17 years of experience in teaching in pharmacy. Thank you.
Oh, very nice. So we can say we have an Indian international personality on the panel. Very nice. Welcome to you, Yashodaji.
Thank you.
Now we take this question session, the panel further. We've all heard on the entire theme of the conference on holistic value education since the first shift as well as today the night shift. We also heard it during the inauguration and the keynote from the keynote speakers and from Shri Bagaria ji. We also heard the recap through Dr. Anita Mane. And with this little background that we've all got, let's take this discussion further on the need for holistic value-based education. Gradually, we'll be moving on this discussion tomorrow as well as day after. So my first question is to Anuradha Parasar. Anuradha ji, what holds a higher priority according to you in education? Value education or skill education? Kindly share your views on what would you give priority.
Yeah, thank you so much. Uh, the basic aim of education is to help people understand what is right and wrong. It's a kind of illumination which comes through knowledge. And in that context, it is the basic foundation of education is that we should be taking care of the value education first over all kind of other skills or maybe capabilities or whatever competence we are focusing on. So first thing is the value, because if there's a value, actually it's a process. So value for what? Human value, as rightly pointed out by the presenter, that it should be universal. So these are basic guidelines. So to become a human, first thing is that we should understand the humane character. And to understand that humane character, what is needed is the value education. Actually, the birth itself, the value education starts from the home itself, the moment the child is born. And it's a process which cultivates honesty, non-violence, integrity, care, responsibility, or respect. So actually, value is like we value what is right and wrong. And it's more towards developing, a morality and making an individual capable of doing what he's supposed to, or more towards maybe taking it to leadership. So each individual is supposed to uphold various types of values. So this is something which is the basic focus and should be the prime focus of an education over skills. Skills are of course needed, but why we are talking about at this point of time, maybe somewhere in our education system during British reign, they came with their agenda, and then we became so much prone into technical education that somewhere technical skills started dominating everything, and we forgot that We are a human being, and that's why we are now realizing that human values or value education is something we should be focusing on. And it is all, I'm so happy that AICT and UGC, they started driving it so rigorously, saying that you have to have a mandatory course in higher education on human values. And if we see the education system presently, we're just giving them knowledge and just sharpening their intellect, our students' intellect. And output is that they are more into argumentation rather than coming with the application of that knowledge and understanding it. So, human values actually, it is follow the right decision in life, and it's something which inspires, integrity in our action. So, I think value education will always be there. It was always there.
True.
Yeah,
Very
instilling
nice.
individual by humanism and a deep concern about the well-being of others and, of course, all people around us and the nation and the world at large. So, what
Yeah.
is really valuable for human being is the humane character, and it comes through value education. Yes,
Very
ma'am.
nice. So, Dr. Anuradha, you opened the discussion for everyone, and let's hear what are the views of the others as you, from your perspective, values hold more importance than skill. And to be more human, you need a human education. And that's what is the value education that you just concluded. So let's move on to understanding from Professor Rashid Hashmi. What are your views to the priority on value education or skill education?
First of all, good morning, esteemed panelists, distinguished guests, and participants. And as Dr. Anuradha has stated, it's really, I would like to initiate that it's a great honor and privilege to be the part of this panel discussion with such an esteemed guest. As Dr. Anuradha has stated, from human to human, the journey. I am going to take the lead from human to human. Well, in my opinion, education in its truest sense is not just a means to acquire knowledge, but a journey of self-discovery and character building. Uh, I would like to give reference of my own India, my own country. India has a deep-rooted tradition of integrating values into education. We all know from the Gurukul system of ancient times to the teachings of visionaries like the Swami Vivekanand, like the Mahatma Gandhi. These ideals have really shaped the foundation of education as a transformative process, one that nurtures not just the intellect but also the heart and the pious soul. Uh, However, in a fast-paced, technologically driven world, the focus on values, the focus on ethics, holistic development often takes a backseat, and it's really tough luck for us. And it's take a backseat to academic and professional achievement. This is where the vision of holistic value-based education emerges as a beacon of hope. It seeks to create well-rounded individuals who excel not just in their chosen fields, but also as ethical leaders, empathetic citizens, and stewards of sustainability. Well, education is often described as a foundation upon which societies are built. In Indian context, education has always seen as a transformative journey, not merely as a means to acquire skills or knowledge, but as a path towards enlightenment, self-realization, harmonious coexistence. From the ancient, as I stated initially, ancient Gurukul system to modern day schooling, the Indian ethos of education has emphasized values, ethics, holistic development alongside intellectual growth. So, this vision of holistic value based education is rooted in our tradition and aims to address the challenges of the modern world by integrating academic excellence with moral, ethical, spiritual growth. That is the prime necessity of our. It really strives to create individuals who are not just knowledgeable but also compassionate, responsible and attuned to their environment and the society. Such an education system has the potential to really shape the future of society by nurturing well-rounded individuals. Well, this clock is reminding me about.
Yeah.
Initially, it reminded me about आपका समय शुरू होता है अब. Well, to summarize myself, in this session, I would like to recall the cultural renaissance.
We'll give you more chances to talk. You'll still go through another set of questions, so you can certainly take it further that time. But I think from whatever you shared, very importantly, what you said was that this is a culture which is there, which is the roots are generations before. So human being before also found the need for value education. And probably what you are also sharing is that you also think that values hold greater priority over skills. Thank you very much. And now I take this further question. Yashoda ji, we are missing your video. Are you here? Yeah. Would you like to answer the same question?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Minna. Thank you, everyone. I thank my Dr. Raghavendra to introduce this. I would like to tell that human education is more important than the skill. Skill also important, but along with the skill, human education is very, very important. You can manage your anger, you can manage your concentration, you can manage your patience, you can improve your patience. Actually, during Corona time, I got an opportunity to see all the episodes of Mary Sai. I became a very good human. My complete nature of thinking has changed. Getting one skill added with human value, with empathy, will always will take the person to the higher level. We can also see along with the skills, you can also manage the stress. You can listen when you become human being. You can start listening to the other problems also. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So nice to reiterate what you have mentioned, that you think that it's very important. Again, holding a higher priority, skill being important, but values holding a greater priority. We now have the same question. We'll ask Dr. Kumar Sambhav. Yes, Dr. Kumar Sambhav, what are your views on this? And maybe you can add whatever your views are for this.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ila. I agree to what the other panelists have said, that yes, values hold a higher priority in education over skills. Values basically determine our goal, our vision. And when we have to make any program, first of all, we have to be clear about the goal or vision. Then only we can make the right program. So once we are clear about the values, our participation in the larger order, then we can pick the right kind of skills, and then we can rightly employ them also for fulfilling our needs. Presently also, if you see in education, we are talking about skills. We are somewhat talking about values also, but we have to see how the courses and values can be more explorative, so that the students are able to determine at their own end their purpose, their vision. Presently, the vision of the students is limited only to getting a good job with a good package. They're not very clear what is going to happen with that in their lives. Their basic aspiration is continuity of happiness in life, continuity of prosperity in life. And unless they are able to see this very clearly, that they essentially want to be happy and prosperous, and for that only they are picking some kind of skill or some kind of profession, and for which they are studying, then unless this clarity is there, they will not be able to even make the right utilization of the program. That's why we can see in education, we have to use so much of pressure on the students to make them come to the classroom, appear for the examination. Okay, those many things are there. It is basically because the inner motivation for the academics is also not there. And the motivation is coming merely from, let's say, package or job or something more than that they feel is more important. So when we give more importance to values over skills in education, so all these non-value adding activity that we have to do also gets done away with. we are able to make the right kind of program with our students. So values determine what I really want to be. And when I'm clear about what I really want to be, then I can choose what to do, what not to do, what to study, what not to study. And then teaching becomes much simpler. Studying becomes much simpler. So I, of course, second this proposition that yes, values hold a higher priority over skills in education. And we have to really take care of this in technical education in particular. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Taking this discussion further, I have a question for Lipika ji. You have been interacting with youth because of the kind of work that you are involved with. What do you think? Which is the teaching method which is appropriate for teaching human values? What is your experience for that?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Ila. It is really good to see all the panelists sitting here and all the education is listening to them. That yes, we are able to see that values takes the precedence over skills. So I was listening to this keynote lecture by Sri Ganesh Bagaria ji, and he started off with that this is a proposal. So this is not about do's and don'ts and should or shouldn't. And what a wonderful way to put up this proposal that you yourself can verify it. And how do you verify it? You can verify it on your own right, on the basis of your natural acceptance. If the proposal is naturally acceptable to you, then it is right for you. And if it is not naturally acceptable to you, it is not right for you. So for example, if you ask yourself, what is naturally acceptable to you, to be in relationship with your family member or to be in opposition with them, the answer may be, obvious and, it is quite spontaneous that, so how did you get to this answer? So you can see that we all have this, such answers within us. We did not have to, we don't have to learn them or get them from somewhere, or we do not have to Google it, whether we want to be in relationship or we want to be in opposition. So this is the faculty that we all have, which we are calling as natural acceptance. And it is a part and parcel of our being. We only have to start referring to it. And each one of us, every human being has this faculty of natural acceptance, and therefore the potential for this self-exploration. So we do not need any kind of special qualification for it. So we have to just start exercising this capacity. And I think this is the capacity which can, convert our potential into the competence.
So thank you very much, Lipika.
Yes.
I think what you have really stressed on is that the content will come from within us, but
Yes.
it is a process which we have to really go through and experience it.
Yes.
So that we are able to reach to the content which is there within. Very nicely put. I have some question for Dr. Sunil. Dr. Sunil has been having a long teaching career. Plus, you've been interacting with youth since a long time. What do you think? Will the projects and activity-based, learning, will that help, or you think it should be ingrained in the education as a subject, that it is needed to facilitate the subject into the for the student to learn before it comes into the action? What do you think? Would you hold action projects priority or the the content of the universal human values a priority?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ila, and greetings to all the panelists going from various parts of the world. So, as I am listening to the panel discussion, I could see, and from my own experience, as Dr. Ila said, I can see that there is a need for this value education. Of course, when the outcome of this education is transformation of a human being, and transformation not just to just for physical facility, but for understanding rightly and for a fulfilling living. That is the transformation which which is necessary. That's what we can see that. And for that, this value education is necessary. And now, when we discuss about this, the process part, how this is to be implemented,
Thank you so much. Very nicely put that you need to facilitate the proposals before putting them into projects and, exposing the students to live projects and work and all that. I would really like to hear from Dr. Kumar Sambhav, because of your long teaching experience of universal human values. What do you think is a better way? Is it good to take them to old age homes, put them into tree plantation, expose them to various projects? Does that help in creating values? Or do you think the proposals in the classroom, the educational program, that really, how do you think, what is more important?
Yeah, so we can see that a course in human values is not only a course for information transfer, it is a process of transformation. And there are two parts of it, as Dr. Sunil was also mentioning. So whatever we are teaching in terms of human values goes as a proposal to the student, and that classroom teaching is very important. So the student needs to know what is to be explored, what is being said, what is the truth. So when we say happiness, when we say prosperity, when we say human being, when we say an animal, a tree or a plant, what entity, what reality we are referring to. So the proposal has to go to the student, and the student has to be enabled to verify on one's own right. So this classroom teaching where the content is shared and discussed, it is not just shared as a kind of information, it is also discussed. The students are allowed, in fact, encouraged to ask questions and then reflect on their natural acceptance. This exercise is very important. The second part of this teaching is experiential validation. So for experiential validation, students have the opportunity to validate in their own living, in their relationship with their parents, with their friends, with their brother and sister. And in addition to that, to get exposure to the wider section of society, they can be given the opportunity to interact with the other sections of society, which they might not have been visited. So as Dr. Yashoda was mentioning, that during the pandemic, when we came across so many patients, then it helped him transform himself. So when the students go to the old age homes, they go to the slum areas, they go to the villages, they talk to the people living around the institution, then they may get a better exposure. At home, they might not even have been exposed to this section of the society. But I'll say that this is only one part. When we go to interact with the rest of the society and we do not verify within, then we may again be carried away by some preconditioning. For example, the student may assume that they lack physical facilities, and if we provide physical facilities, then their problems are going to be solved, which may not be the case. At the essence is the development of the human consciousness. Basically, this whole education is a process of consciousness development of the mankind. And when we go to interact or try to validate just in living without verifying within, without referring to one's natural acceptance, then we may get conditioned in many ways. And we can see multiple attempts are there in the society to transform the society, but they do not happen to be sustainable because the consciousness development is not taking place. So on one hand, the student has to listen to the proposal, verify within, try to even use one's logic, one's rationality to see whether the proposal is coming rightly to him or her or not. On the other hand, the student has to live accordingly, and as a part of that living only is interaction with the rest of society. The student has to look into the living with the family members, with the friends, and this part is also very important. Otherwise, the student may carry some supposition which may not be valid, and the student may tend to over-evaluate oneself. For example, I am giving clothes to the poor people. The student may tend to assume that I am superior and they are inferior, which will not serve the purpose. So that part is also very essential.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kumar. I think you took us very nicely through the journey of how the value education has to be imparted. It's not just that the proposals have to be placed, but they have to be discussed. You have to facilitate the students so that they're exploring within. I think that part, what you mentioned, that is the biggest gap that we have created in education. So this self-exploration that you have done with your students and which you have helped us also here, I think that we can definitely look into. Very happy to see Miss Rania Lampo. Did I pronounce your word right, Rania? Very happy to see you here. And I think you wish to share something on this. Do introduce yourself also.
Yes, warm greetings from Greece. I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to all organizers of UHV Foundation, all this wonderful event and conference. And of course, I would like to thank you for the kind invitation. It's a wonderful topic, actually, and it's more relevant than ever because, you know, my point of view, firstly, is that in some years from now, 2 or 3 years from now, more or less the majority of our students now who will graduate will know everything about AI and digital technologies. But I think that it will be very hard in the next years to find people who have true values. It's very rare nowadays to find people who actually are well-rounded, who have moral values, integrity, things like that. And of course, it's up to educators to take care of this. First I want to say that I'm working at the Greek Ministry of Education and now as the Dutch teacher, and I have been working for many years in primary education. And I'm very happy because in Greece, for the first time, we have introduced in the curriculum, our ministry introduced thematic sessions like environmental education, social emotional learning. We have also entrepreneurship. All these, topics which have to do with holistic education. So in this period, which is marked by complex challenges ranging from climate change, technological disruption, equality, mental health crisis, let's not forget that the majority of people that we have, of students nowadays are struggling with serious mental health crisis because of the cyber world, because of family problems. Here in Greece, students become more and more difficult. And the challenge nowadays is not to impart them knowledge. The challenge is not to help them how to manage, with the digital world, how to manage a learning management system platform. This is not the challenge. The challenge is to help them navigate the complex world. How this happens through holistic-based education, because this equips them with the ethical values, emotional intelligence, social awareness is necessary to navigate the complexities of the modern world. So what we're going to do is, first of all, first tip is to integrate values into the curriculum. Values that could be, for example, in science, because I'm a STEM instructor, students can learn, for example, about the ethics of environmental conservation. In history, they can discuss about justice and equality. So this ensures that values are discussed in diverse contexts, helping students understand the real-world applications. Projects that tackle project-based learning that tackle real-world problems, such as community service, provide opportunities for students to practice values like empathy or collaboration or critical thinking. And of course, the most important is social emotional learning, how to focus on emotional intelligence and perspective, what we call role-playing and perspective-taking activities. So encourage students to engage in activities that build empathy, such as simulations, role-playing, discussing diverse perspectives, or reflecting on how their actions affect others. I forgot to mention that in Greece, we have the case of phenomenon of racism and xenophobia because we have many refugees who are coming, especially from war zones. So our top first priority is value-based education because we need to cultivate among our Greek students empathy, which is not easy because, you know, there is this problem of racism many years now. So understand the importance of respecting differences, to be tolerant. This is not easy for students. And create a values-based environment. So establishing classroom norms that respect core values, respect, honesty, cooperation, create learning environment where students feel safe, feel supported, always discussion, reflection has to do with this, and discuss especially about moral and ethical dilemmas. This is very important.
Thank you so much, Rania. Rania, you're from Greece?
Yes, I'm from Greece, and we're facing a lot of problems nowadays with students. Students are becoming more and more difficult to handle in comparison to what was happening in the past. And
So
teachers are not very well prepared. So we need training. Teachers definitely need the professional development training on this, because we have assumed the role of a psychologist, of mentor, of facilitator, of guide. Too many roles, but we're not trained on this.
Yeah. So can you introduce yourself? You are into research, and what exactly? Can you give a little introduction?
Yes.
Of yourself?
Yes. Okay. So I was appointed actually in secondary education, but then I moved to primary education, and I'm a STEM instructor. Actually, I'm a STEM teacher, and I'm also the founder and coordinator of several international humanitarian projects, which are based on sustainable development goals. They were implemented in some of the privileged, underserved regions in Africa and Asia. Here in Greece, promoting a lot service learning volunteerism. I was appointed as the National Ambassador of Volunteerism and Education in the Greek Academy. It's a governmental project of volunteerism, Help Hellas. And I'm teaching a lot of many years to refugees as a volunteer, to children with special education needs, to children at the ecological hospital. And we try to promote volunteerism, which is one of the basic social values. No, for me, when I hear about values-based education, the first things that comes to mind is social values. So volunteerism, we try to create networks all around the world. For example, in Australia, there are many Greeks. So we try to create networks among Greek people who are all around the world. They can help each other. We try to create frameworks where we can help students with special education needs. And for the first time, we have created also the possibility for for Greek citizens to receive certification as volunteers. This is the first time this has happened. So you can understand that this should be institutionalized.
Definitely we would like to be in touch with you, because as an educator and a person who also feels the need for value education into formal education, we can definitely discuss at length later. And thank you for being on the panel. Do stay on for some more time. I have a question for Rashid, Professor Rashid. Professor Rashid, what do you think? Should value education start at higher education? We already have, Rania has already spoken about it. What are your views about it? Should we start at higher education, or do you think that we should fulfill this need at the childhood and focus on skill in the higher education, skill and technology in the higher education, and values in the primary? What are your views on this?
Before answering you, Dr. Ila, I would like to mention three words: what, when, and where. Why can't we reimagine success for our students? Why can't we move beyond conventional metrics? In modern education, Dr. Ila, educational landscape success is often equated with high grades, competitive ranks, lucrative careers. Why can't we reimagine this thing? However, such a narrow definition really undermines the essence of education as a tool for self-discovery and societal betterment. Holistic value-based education seeks to redefine success by prioritizing personal growth, emotional intelligence, and ethical conduct alongside academic achievement. How can we redefine? What should be redefined? Should be taken care of. Redefining achievement in Indian schools, in global schools, really is the prime necessity of our. Schools should and can introduce value report cards. These value report cards that assess qualities like teamwork, empathy, environmental stewardship. I would like to mention an example. For instance, uh, instead of only rewarding the highest academic scorer, a school could celebrate. Why couldn't they celebrate students who contribute to social causes or lead peer mentoring programs? Programs like the spiritual quotient challenge, focusing on mindfulness and ethical decision making, could supplement traditional academic competitions, Dr. Ila. And by shifting the narrative around success, holistic education really empowers students to pursue diverse paths aligned with their intrinsic talent and societal needs, about which Dr. Kumar Sambhav was telling. And one more thing, Yashoda sir was saying that during Corona period, human
His
values
experience.
during Corona period, human values inculcated in oneself. We must not wait for another Corona period to start our human values. This is the time for our cultural renaissance in India, and cultural renaissance in Rania Lampu's Greece too.
Very nice. So thank you so much. I can see that passion in you, Rashid, and you have the pen with you. You are a writer and author, a journalist. I'm sure with your support, also we can all together do wonders. Definitely, we'll take it further. I think we have Bernard also over here. Can we have your video on? We'd like to welcome you also on the panel.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't know whether you can see me. I'm on the street driving.
It doesn't matter. I have a question for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. What are your views about value education? Should it start at the school level and then we go to skill and technology, the higher education? What are your views about it?
Yeah, thank you very much, moderator. That's a very good question. And I need to, let me sit here so I can put on better light for us to see. Am I seeing better there?
Yes, you are.
Yes,
this is much better. Much better,
okay,
Bernard.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, values education. I think that it needs, I would like to follow suit with colleagues who have been sharing about that. I think it's a very interesting but complex matter that takes so many angles. But
Bernard,
for me,
I hope you're okay. Do you want to pause a little? You were walking.
Can you hear me? I've been driving, but
we can hear you. If you want
and
to
you
take
can
a
see me
break,
also.
yeah, we can. Okay,
Okay,
go
so we
ahead.
can continue. I'm fine.
Yeah,
Personally, I'm
okay,
fine.
okay,
Okay,
okay.
so yeah, about the question, values education, what is my take on it? And I'd like to talk from the context of Africa. I happen to come from Uganda, and I've been involved in education for almost all my life. I started teaching in 1996. I started in a high school, and I've gone through the levels of education, of teaching in different institutions, different levels of learning. And right now, I am a university lecturer. I work with one of the prominent African universities, which is Makerere University, but also working alongside a private university. So I have experience from both angles. And in the private university, I'm a coordinator of a program that is called service learning. So for me, this conversation is very important because I think it anchors the other side of work that I do as coordinator of service learning. Because service learning is helping us to try to not only conceptualize, but also bring to life concrete experiences of learning as service. And I think that's what values education is. For me, I think it is a complete process. It is the real epitome of what education should be. Whether we're talking about values education or service learning, that's what education should be. And as an African, lately I've been reflecting a lot on the reality of education. I think one of the presenters earlier today made a very good observation that our approach to education today is emphasizing more, and perhaps we can measure our success in terms of what we can call literacy as opposed to education. And I think many times we're confounding those two concepts. That when we teach our learners how to manage robots and how to become technical and how to deal with machines, then we are actually talking about education. But I think that's a different thing. I think values education would come to challenge all those things that literacy doesn't achieve. That it has to be anchored in the institutions of human existence and human identity. And that human identity would be the being that I am in relation to other beings. I think that also has come out prominently in this conversation. How do I relate with myself, with the other person, with the nature, with the environment? We are losing connection with that. But also values education has to be anchored in institutions such as the family. The family, which has gone missing today. We are talking more about myself and myself alone, and we are losing touch with the place where these values are supposed to be acquired in the first instance. And that place is supposed to be the family. My experience here, where I am in Uganda and in most of Africa, and I think this is a real problem elsewhere, is that we no longer have time for our families. We no longer have time for our children. We spend a lot more time chasing all these other things. And also, our children spend a lot more time away from where we are. I don't know what happens in India, but in Uganda, we run a school system that we call an education system, which keeps the children away from home for most of the time because they are in a boarding school. And their level of interaction in a boarding school is something that can be so complex because of their socialization processes. So who in that school is responsible to teach these children the human values that they're supposed to grow with and they're supposed to take forward at different levels. So I think that as we're talking about human education, we need to, at this conference, we need to come up with prospects for re-energizing the family as the best institution where values of human life, of humanity can be acquired and where they can be lived in the true sense, the true meaning of life. You know, the empathy, the foundational years of childhood, those values there can't be learnt anywhere else. But also we have the threat of what we many times term as development, which has the hallmark of what we call globalization and a fluid culture that we call pluralism and that mix of all things. Very interesting, wonderful things. But
Yes.
then somehow they have propagated everything, all the other values that are contrary to the human values, and that prosper around the spirit of capitalism and so forth. So in a nutshell, as I would like to conclude, I think for us to talk about human values, then we need to find a way we can ground those human values within a prospect that brings the child back home. So I would agree with that question that was asking where should the human values begin? I think they have to begin at the level of childhood. But where do we harness the opportunities for this childhood? I think this is a major question for us to interrogate at this conference. I appreciate
Surely.
very much for getting me involved here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Bernard. It was very spontaneous of you and very nice that you were able to share your views. I have a question for Dr. Anuradha. And this question has come from the audience.
Oh, that's
So,
great.
yeah. So it was a very similar question to which I would have asked you, but I think it's good it's come from the audience. Values can be given from childhood. Even then, value education is required along with skill education also. That means at higher education also. So we need to find ways that gives values along with skills. That is one question. How to reduce the lust of private institution of getting more admission? That is one of the major issue nowadays. So this is one of the question. I think this question has come from one of the participant.
Surely.
So, Dr. Anuradha, would you like to?
Yes, I'll be very happy to answer that. So, of course,
Yeah.
I agree that the question is like, at what stage the value education need to go about? So, of course,
Yeah.
it starts right from the childhood, even our school education system, where the personality of a student is shaping up. Very, very important. Equally important in the higher education, because that is the time when they are in questioning mode. They can critically analyze. So that's why we are pondering on having this human values and course in higher education as well. So I will just share what we are doing at Galgotia's University.
Yeah. Of getting more admission. That is one of the.
I will.
It's
Yeah,
a major
I will.
issue.
Yeah, I will. Let me just complete this first point. So, of course, along with this course, Universal Human Values and Ethics, we have already introduced in our university for all the students, all stream, as per the directive of UGC. And I'm also religiously driving SDG 16, which is just Justice, Peace, and Strong Institution. And for that, I've started Center of Excellence in Peace Education and Research. And through that, I've designed a very unique course, The Journey to Self-Exploration, Research, and Innovation. Kind of a peace education program focusing on 10 themes: peace, appreciation, inner strength, clarity, dignity, like that. And the methodology which we are using is self-introspection, self-reflection, think, pair, share, and it's an activity-based learning and all kinds of projects, visit to old age home or orphanages, everything it is going on. So, actually, before I answer that question, mm, what is really valuable for human being? This is what is really conducive to to a happy and fulfilling life. Of course, values are the guidelines and they are needed at each point of life, what to do and what not to do. And Anita ji was telling very rightly that values are universal, rational, verifiable, and harmony. I would like to add encompassing as well. Value education should cover all aspects of human existence, peace, truth, conduct, love, non-violence, actually speaking, leading to better quality of life. And as rightly pointed by Bernard, a process of realizing one's relationship, which is something like this, value education is nothing but rotating around love. Thinking with love is truth, feeling with love is peace, action with love is right conduct, and understanding with love is non-violence. So focusing on building values in students so that they become good human being and citizen. Now coming to private higher education, uh, they focusing more on admissions. Uh, I don't think that all organizations are like that. Uh, yes, of course, private organization they need to take care of their budgets and the fee is the only way. That's why they always focus on admission. But at the same time, they're equally focusing on quality education, and in that, human value education is a part of it. I
Thank you
hope
so
I
much.
answered his question.
Yeah. I have a question for Yashoda ji. Yashoda ji, many times universities have a concern that the number of credits in courses is high. And if we assign these credits in the courses, kindly share your views. How can we balance with the rest of the other subjects and with the human value holding credits? How do we do all that? How do you manage, or what do you think in your institution, organization? How is it?
Thank you for question again. In Kenya, our B pharmacy students will also do what is that? Apart from the skill courses, they also go to community service. You also will be graded there. In 4th year, 5th year, they go. And also we have every year our previous vice chancellor, on the name of previous vice chancellor, we have one day community service that is called as Frida Brown. We used to go to different places. We also visited what is that? Juvenile juvenile jails. So it's a part of the culture. And also I have seen one good thing in Kenya and Africa is that if any person is suffering, they start WhatsApp group and they start donating money. So even when you lose a family member, or when a family member health is deteriorated, and if the insurance is not satisfying the criteria, then they start WhatsApp group. They donate money. It is a party. It's a part and participle from the life. So everyone they donate. Maybe 100 shillings. Here the shillings, the currency is shilling. Every person will donate. Even our institute, as I want to tell that we are having this extracurricular activities, but I need to find to the director on the what is that GE courses, general education courses, whether this human values education is present, because I never thought in this institution about human value education anytime. I was only dealing with pharmacy education. Now I would like to teach. I will ask the director to give me even higher human value education.
Very nice. Thank you so much. I think we have a very short time, but I would like to hear from Sunil ji. Dr. Sunil, What are your views on this credit courses? And also, I would like you to also respond to the question on what do we do to create a better impact of value education on the students? So if you can combine the two, because on one hand, we do not want to introduce the credit course because of the other skill-based courses. On the other hand, we also want an impact of value education. We want to, that is our expectation. So how do you think we can balance and create an impact also?
Yeah, nice. Thank you, Dr. Ila, for the question. Yeah, both are important, I would say. Having an impact upon the students, that is important, as well as credits are also important. Now, as we discussed in this same panel discussion, that the value education can be offered as self-explorative to the students. So when it is to be explorative, it will take time. And this time is also directly connected to the number of credits. Now, whenever we offer any subject, it will be technical or otherwise, unless there is a credit in the beginning, the students may not take it seriously also. So this is also to be taken care of. Students, they have to take it seriously. For that, the credits are required. That's one thing. Along with that, we have to spend time with them. So when the teacher is a role model of this value education, understanding and living values, and when the teacher spends time with the students, it takes time. And this time is also converted to credits. We say that 3 hours in a week is 3 credit course, like that. But at the same time, inculcation of these values in the students is very important. So unless they see the importance of this through whatever we propose, like the methodologies of like projects, like going into juvenile homes, etc., as Dr. Yashoda put up, and many of the methodologies which we follow in other countries also, they're very good. But at the same time, they are facilitating and they are complementary to this offering values. So both the things are important. One is offering credits, I mean, introducing credits into value education and value-based education also. We discussed that maybe in the next segment.
Yeah.
And ensuring the students to see the importance of values through the living models of the teachers. This is important. That's my take.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think there was a hand raised by Dr. Devendra Kumar from Oman. Dr. Devendra, you have the permission to talk. Would you like to ask the question?
Yes, yes. Very good evening, everybody.
Please go ahead.
I raised my question started from the value degradation from the private institutions.
So I think you are from UK?
No, I am from Oman. I am
Oman.
belongs to India only. I lives in Agra, but right now I am in Oman. So
Okay.
my question is, wherever we are looking, private institutions, they have settled their own credits to pass the students more and more. They have a lot of number of supplementaries to pass the students more and more. Even they have the lower grades, but they are getting pass. Somewhere they are finding themselves that we are coming here, we are paying more and we are getting the degrees. And this is not a one of the institution. This is the entire world scenario. Wherever the private education we are looking here also and there also. Well, at least 4 or 5 countries I know well-known universities. They have their goal setup is different. To pass the student, take the admission. Because private concerns in the abroad compared to India, they are taking a huge money. Means the factor behind is that what? Earning. Students are paying, managements are earning. This is the relation between them. Where the values, what they are learning. On this part, what management is doing or what we people are doing. So this is a question. In that direction, what we are doing the next? This is a big question in front of us right now. Society is badly impacted with this season. So for example, I am working in a government university. Government university set up their standards very fine. They have 3 supplementary. First, second, third.
Devendraji, you'll have to be very brief because we're running short of time.
Yeah.
We still have
So
some
only
time.
thing is that in this with this platform, what we are going to suggest any solution or we are talking just we are going to value education to maintain our emotion, maintain our anger, maintain our ego. Behind this we are running or the whole system, the ecosystem of the value we are going to develop or we are going to suggest.
So this is a platform for open discussion. And we have seen that panelists have been very fair enough in their expression. So whatever comes out through the discussion, we can take that further. After 3 days, we can see what are the recommendations coming out. We'll definitely discuss all this in detail. Still, we have another tomorrow. Two more days to go. We'll surely take it up. Thank you, Devendra ji, and looking forward to your participation for all the 3 days. We have Lipika ji. I have a very short question for you also, Lipika. I just want to know from you. You have had a long career in engineering and then into psychology, and you've been dealing with parenting. You've moved the spaces, and I just wanted to know very briefly, just half a minute, what are your views on how can we create an impact of value education? What do you think? What are the measures?
Yes.
And in the meantime, I would also ask Mohit, who is also here, if you can turn your camera and you can also be part. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Lipika.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Ila, for asking that question. Of course, so I was hearing Dr. Sunil and Dr. Kumar also, they had also spoken about this. So it is about, first thing is that the students need to go through the proposal. They need to self-evaluate these proposals, right? They have to ask, have we grasped these proposals? And then we have to help them to connect with the content to one's own life, at least to the level of at the level of their thought. This can be done individually or maybe in a group, particularly in friends or family members, as even Mr. Bernard was asking that how can we extend this to our families, right? How can we develop these human values in the families? So we have to really ask, what does a fulfilling life mean for us? And when you think of a fulfilling life, you have to ask this question to student while you're answering this question. You have to consider your entire life and not just the present stage of your life. And we also have to see that whether these basic guidelines that you're talking about, we have to check whether we are satisfying these basic guidelines or not, right? So thank you for asking that.
Thank you very much.
I hope it satisfies.
Mohit, would you like to say something? You have got the mic with you in case you would like to say something. And I think I'll ask the last question to Rashid. Rashid, just to, if you could just give your views, because I think I could see that passion within you that it is needed. But in that need, how do you think it will create an impact on education? You're on mute.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Ila, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity in the concluding session. I would like to mention it with more and more accent to my voice. Strengthening of regulatory framework is must. Transparent admission caps, regulatory bodies like in India, it's UGC, University Grants Commission, that should impose and enforce strict limits on the number of admissions, ensuring student-teacher ratios and infrastructure standards should be maintained. Auditing and accreditation that should be taken care of. Regular audits should evaluate universities on parameters such as faculty quality, research output, student outcomes, and it should include penalties for institutions that prioritize excessive admissions at the cost of quality, at the cost of human values and holistic education. This is my concluding remarks.
Very nice. Thank you so much. I have my last question to Dr. Kumar. Dr. Kumar, you have had, again, I'm repeating, you had a long time that you spent on values. And I would really want to know, what is it that with the students, what are the basic guidelines we can follow while creating this value education, while developing the value education program to make it more impactful? Any basic guidelines that you can discuss out?
Yeah, I think the guidelines were
Because we
already
are all
shared.
from different fields. So eventually the guidelines have to be common. So if you can talk on that.
Yes, because some of the panelists were not there when the UHE point of view was being presented. So I'll just list those guidelines, and I think we can have sometime later some more discussion on that. So the content has to be universal, that is applicable to every human being, irrespective of caste, creed, gender, region, nation, whatever. It has to be rational, that is, it has to be amenable to reasoning. One can apply logic to it and not just believe about it based on some do's and don'ts or shouldn't, or some dogma. Not like that. It has to be rational. Thirdly, it has to be verifiable. So when anything comes to me as a proposal, I need to reflect on my natural acceptance and see whether it is acceptable to me naturally within, and also validate in my living. Fourthly, it has to be all-encompassing, what Dr. Anuradha was also saying, that it has to encompass all levels of my living and all dimensions of a human being. And it has to be leading to harmony ultimately, because we are all aspiring for harmony. And we can see that it is essentially harmony that is going to ensure happiness in our life. So these are certain guidelines, but yes, we have to see how our pedagogy, how our development of faculty can ensure these guidelines. Once enabled, then certainly this kind of education can take us to a humane society.
Thank you
I
so
think
much.
briefly, Ms. Rania could comment upon this maybe in a minute or so.
Yeah, Rania. Briefly.
Yes, definitely. First, I want to say you asked about what age is appropriate to teach values to students. I want to say from my own experience, I'm the founder of a project which was implemented in Nigeria about gender-based violence, why peace is a much better option. I had designed this project for students of secondary education, and everybody told me that this won't be successful because already adolescents there have formed a violent aggressive behavior. So I changed this project and was addressed to primary students with, indeed it was implemented with great success finally. So these values should be inculcated, if it's possible, preschool age. This is the first point. And secondly, I want to say that what we need is to encourage agency, empowerment, student-led initiatives, community-based initiatives, initiatives that could help students also develop their leadership skills. Collaborative learning, storytelling case studies, using stories to teach values. Stories, both real and fictional, can be powerful tools for illustrating values. Conflict resolution, activities for conflict resolution, spiritual development, of course, and meaning. Holistic education can help students how to explore questions of purpose, of meaning, of identity. And of course, everything that has to do with global citizenship, how to prepare to how to be adaptable, flexible for a changing world, how to build stronger communities, and to create this lasting impact. It's essential to integrate values into all aspects of learning experience, from the curriculum and classroom culture to real-world applications and reflective practices. I model values by providing opportunities for active engagement, by promoting critical thinking. We can help the students internalize ethical principles and apply them to their lives.
Thank you so much. It was really almost concluding remarks. So I would really like to thank the panelists. And just to conclude, I would like to say what we have discussed is, I think all the panelists felt that skill education is important, but value education holds a higher priority. And all education, all skill education has to be having a value-based education at the foundation. We also discussed about the process. And I think, again, we discussed at length that it needs to be exploratory. The process needs to be exploratory, where we are able to create a dialogue within the self. And over a period of explorations, verifications, and validations, maybe we can give opportunities to the students to experimentally validate it more, probably through projects and other experiences that we have discussed. We also discussed whether value education should begin at the younger ages. And I think everyone felt the need that it should begin even at the childhood. But yes, where do you get your mentors from? Where are the teachers going to come from? So giving it at the higher education, we are able to prepare teachers much faster. But yes, at the what I could see, the common point of view was that value education is needed from the very childhood. Looking at the impact of value education, we have discussed the guidelines, the basic guidelines of universality, the rationality, leading to harmony, and so on. That these are the basic guidelines which every field of education can follow in any country and for everyone. We also looked at the concern that universities have about credits. And as some of you all have reiterated the point that we need to strike a balance, it is required. Students will get serious if we give credits, and through the credit system courses, we can facilitate the values with the students. So definitely we are looking forward to more discussion on this. We'll continue this discussion tomorrow. Today we discussed on the need. Now that we have been able to come across that the need is there, let us develop the vision tomorrow. So we will all meet together and collaborate again for this discussion where we'll visualize the vision for an education. So thank you very much on the first day that all of you all participated, some of you all spontaneously, some of you all were there planned before. However, it didn't seem like it was spontaneous. Everyone was able to contribute and participate. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lurikra, for stopping your vehicle and being part of the discussion. And
Can we
thank
have
you,
a group photograph?
Yashodaji. Thank you very much. From far and wide, we have Rania, we have Rashid, we have Dr. Anuradha, Ms. Lipika, Dr. Sunil, and Dr. Kumar. So thank you very much to each one of you. Looking forward to the further proceedings. Thank you very much.
Can we have a group photograph of the entire
Yeah,
panel?
we should have a group photograph. And I think someone is going to, yeah, first we'll finish with the group photograph. I can't see myself.
Till the time we are taking group photographs,
You are seen, Didi. Yeah, Dr. Ila, you are seen.
Okay, Prashanti, you take.
So, time we are taking the group photograph, I would like to update regarding the next sessions also. So from 2:30 to 3:30, the Zoom event is on, and we can have networking with organizing partners and all. And the shift 2 will end at 3:30 a.m. today. And shift 1 will start at 8 a.m. with keynotes, sharing and panel discussion sessions. And we'll meet tomorrow in shift 2. It will commence from 7 p.m. IST. And we'll have keynote session on education for harmony in relationship from family to world family. And we'll have sharing sessions also and panel discussions as told by Dr. Ila. We'll have panel discussion tomorrow on vision for holistic value-based education. So till then, it was very
I hope
nice
somebody is taking the photograph.
Yes, Tara Prasanna ji, yes, already written that the photograph is taken.
Yes,
Thank you
Nice.
so much. Thanks to each one of you. Thank you for the technical support to the tech team. And also thank you to all the volunteers who have worked front and back of this entire event. Thank you once again. Have a nice.
Thanks. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Looks like nobody wants to leave the value-based, need-based education. We all surely collaborate. This is a very short panel discussion, but we need to collaborate for further processes. Thank you so much.
We are deciding whether to say good night or good morning. So,
you can say good morning to me. You can say good night to the Indian.
Here, it's good night here.
California.
Good night, everyone.
We've joined from California, so you can say good morning to me.
Good
morning.
Bye.
Human values, it's
Bye.
really good morning.
Morning.
It's good night here.
But you really don't want to go?